Hey, also, let's talk about ways to thrive and not survive. This is going to be a short one because there's just two areas of focus on this one. So, when we're in survival mode, we say to ourselves, how can I make it through this? So, we are experiencing something negative, we're experiencing something that's given us turmoil, and we say, okay, what can I do to make it through this? What can I do to get to the other side of this? And when we ask ourselves that question, we're really in survival mode. And when we're in survival mode, you think about animals when they're in survival mode. You're really just trying to get to the other side of it. You're trying to make sure that you stay alive in an effort to endure this experience you're going through. And I remember when I was in the last relationship that I was in, I thought to myself every single day, like, how can I survive this negative conversation in order to continue this relationship? How can I survive this experience with this person today to get to the next good part, right? And then it became an effort to just, how do I endure this experience to get to the end of this relationship? Because I knew that the relationship was ending. And then once the relationship ended, then it was, how can I survive this pain in an effort to get to a space of healing? And you'll notice that when you're in that survival state, you're constantly trying to get past the present day and get to the future. And then you get to the future. And when you're in the future, then there's an experience that's happening in the future. And you're trying to get past that present day to get to the future. And it's a perpetual cycle of getting past what's happening now to get into the future. When we're looking for answers, when we're looking for God to give us the sign, when we're looking for God to tell us what's happening and why is this happening and what's going to happen as an end result, and if I do this, then what are you going to do for me? Then that's just helping us to survive this experience, because it's us telling ourselves, if I can just get through this, God says that there's this other thing on the other side, and he's given me the answer for what that thing is. So when we're asking him for him to reveal the plan to us, and not in the way where it's like, I want you to tell me your vision for me. I want you to tell me the lesson that you're having me learn through this experience so that I can endure this experience because I know that there's a lesson in it. But in the way where we're like, if you would just tell me what you're going to do with me next, if you could just tell me when I'm going to get my husband, if you could just tell me when that promotion is going to happen, if you could just tell me when I'm going to get a financial blessing, then I would be able to endure this, because I know that something is coming in the next phase of life that's going to make this worth it. We're really just trying to survive the current experience. But when we're thriving in our lives, we're telling ourselves that this thing that I'm going through is making me better. So how is the experience that I'm existing in right now making me a better person? So let's roll back to the relationship experience that I was telling you was like, if I can just survive this thing, if I can just survive this conversation. Well, if I was thriving in that conversation, and now hindsight, I've figured out the answer to this, but if I was thriving in that conversation, I would have said, what are some notes that I need to process in my brain to say, this is not the type of partner that's for me? What are some notes that I need to process in my brain for when I pick a new partner, so that I know that I'm not picking the same kind of partner who filters everything through a negative lens? What are some things that I'm learning about relationships and myself inside of them that I can take with me into my next experience to make it a better one? So I've talked to you about my defensiveness. I'm defensive in this relationship because this person is constantly accusing me of things. So there's always a threat. So I'm in that fight mode. But how can I deal with that defensiveness so when I take it into the next relationship, when someone brings me, some fierce feedback, I'm able to deal with that fierce feedback in a way that is a benefit to me, helps me grow, as opposed to being defensive against it because I can't take any more criticism. And then once I got past that, constant wheel of negative conversation, like when I was telling myself, how can I survive this, month and get out of this relationship? I really should have been asking myself and telling myself, you're learning that you're not willing to endure this type of experience anymore. You're learning about yourself that this is not the end result for you. You're learning about yourself that you would rather be by yourself than to be in an experience that brings you more pain, trauma, and discomfort. And those are the things that in hindsight, I realized that if I would have been thriving in those experiences, I would have taken the lesson and left the relationship so much earlier. And then when I was dealing with the pain and saying like, how can I survive this? I realized that in thriving in that area, I could have and did eventually say, what am I supposed to learn so I don't repeat this? I've repeated this so many times and I don't want to do it again. So my friend Eric always says, hide me till you heal me. And that's the prayer that I had for him. Like, hide me until you heal me, because I want to go into my next phase of life and I want to experience this phase of life as a better version of me that no longer is willing to repeat this loop that I've been experiencing over and over again because of my choices. When you're going through this space where you're thriving, the answers are going to help you thrive. You're going to say, okay, right now, what is he trying to show me? You might read your scripture until he speaks. You might consult your biblical counsel until they give you some semblance of what you think God is trying to tell you in that. But you're not saying, okay, if I can just wake up this morning, if I can just get in the shower, if I can just get to work, if I can just make this dinner, like that is survival mode. But when you're in thriving mode, you say to yourself, okay, I give myself grace. I'm learning these lessons. I'm becoming a better version of me right now, today, and you're living in the present. So today I would encourage you to take yourself out of survival mode. Take yourself out of those fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses and just exist in the present day and decide what the blessings are in that day. Uncover and unearth what lessons you're supposed to be learning and where you can be growing in that experience. And if you're walking through your healing journey and you need a sidekick to that journey, remember that my book, Poems to Heal the Dead Things, is just that. It's poetry, experiences with lessons, and then journal prompts in an effort to get you to walk through those spaces and get yourself to a space of thriving as opposed to trying to survive through them. To get yourself to a place of not repeating those same experiences over and over again. Remember, if you don't already, to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, to follow me on all social media sites to get more content, and also subscribe to my blog on my website, carrienicole.com, so that you can get those blogs every Wednesday right in your email. I thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you next week.